For those unaware, could you break down who King Leopold is and the destruction that this man caused during
Right,
his time
right,
and still exists to this day?
right. All right. So King Leopold of the Belgians and his agent, Henry Morton Stanley, uh, who was his. You know how they had those so-called explorers, right? Those were basically scouts going out to map, African regions so they can know where the wealth is located, which they then used later on when they had the formal partition of the continent at the Berlin Conference from November 1884 to February 1885. So Leopold worked with Stanley to map out, the Congo region, the Congo basin, and realize how much natural wealth, that location had. And then Leopold declared that to be his personal, estate, the Congo Free Estate. There was nothing free about the Congo. It was a genocidal regime that he set up. And many people probably have watched the film Lumumba by Peck, the Haitian filmmaker. And that really, in the beginning, it shows the scenes of Africans with severed limbs or holding the hands or feet of other Africans. That was his incentive staff. The big commodity at the time was rubber. So if they didn't produce enough rubber, chop off and then display them, the ones with severed limbs, to the others to scare them into producing, rubber and ivory, the big thing. It was so genocidal that it's estimated that as many as 10 million Africans may have perished. And then it was so horrific that the Belgian government said, we have to do something about this. It was so embarrassing even to fellow European colonials who were similarly plundering and killing.
That's wild when someone's doing the same thing you're doing
Think about that.
and saying like this is out of hand.
So you're putting us to shame. Other other colonial assassins are telling this to Leopold. So the Belgian government said, okay, we have to stop this embarrassment. So they took the possession away from King Leopold. And did they do the right thing and say the Congolese, you manage your own affairs? No. Their solution was to make it an official colony of the Belgian government, right? And of course, this lasted until 1960 when Patrice Lumumba and his party won the first democratic elections in the Congo. But given all that wealth that had been accumulating all these years, they're used to it now. They never wanted to let go. And
I'm glad you brought that up. I think people don't understand that aspect of when they have these conversations on surface level. They say, well, why doesn't... They are not giving up.
No.
There's so many businesses and economies tied to getting this natural resource. You can't just cut it off.
No, it can't. They can't cut it off. And what I like about Rodney the most, Walter Rodney, is that it keeps reminding us that it's an interconnected global system. And he talks about location. So African countries, he spoke about Caribbean countries, are located what he called the periphery and at a marginalized position. He calls it international division of labor. So they will never allow you to industrialize, because if you industrialize, you are basically taking income away from European, American, and today Chinese companies too. Because then where are they going to sell?
You won't have to buy the finished product.
Exactly. Who's going to buy it? Where are they going to sell it to? The best place to sell it is in a location where you're not even permitting them to produce the same things. So now they compete amongst themselves. The margins are going to be smaller, right? But they still make their margins by volume, right? And then they come to your market and they own your market as well. Think about that.